guys will have the opportunity, literally,
They're not making it
you'll
easy.
like, we met Grace when she was just starting her career with the ponies, and then you'll go, 20 of these were attributed, or 30 or whatever, to Grace or her design work. So she's working in different scales, and there's things that are, and there's all different looks for them. They're all over the place.
One of my favorite poses that I kind of missed was that rearing pose that they had.
Yes.
Only on hind legs.
Yeah, they were interesting.
There's only 3 of those.
They were done by David O'Connell, that's over in East Providence, Rhode Island. And Dave doesn't do sculpting anymore. As a matter of fact, I think he runs a cable TV show. So sculptors come in and drift in and drift out. Actually, the guy that did the original pony, his name is Charlie Munchinger. And Charlie, you met Bonnie Zackerly? Mm-hmm. Charlie was a sculptor in-house at Hasbro. Bonnie knew of him, and another woman, was Bonnie Zackerly. There's a girl named Kathy Oakes there that also worked on Pony Line too, and they all knew Charlie. So Charlie did the original My Pretty Pony. And I think he might have done this when he was at Hasbro, before he left the company. And then when they did the actual, this one, from that one, Charlie was given the job as a freelancer on the outside. So Charlie actually generated...
Because it was pretty much his idea, just scaled down.
Right. There's a current doll coming out. It's a large, I don't know if this, the Kim's doll, is it out there? We can't. Anyway, there's a large fashion doll coming out, and I don't even know if I can say the name of it. Has it been introduced out there yet? Well, I can't tell you what it is, but there's a beautiful doll that's coming out that was done by the sculptor that actually worked on the pattern of this also. There's a little bit of a tag team. This came in and needed modifications. So a woman named Andrea Hollis, yes, down in Newport, Rhode Island, actually did modifications on the first one. The first ones, which are probably relatively rare, have a tendency, and this might be one of them, they have a tendency to fall over on their nose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The flat feet.
The flat feet, yeah.
And Andrea did a extension. Actually, this has been extended, I think. They're a little bit shorter on the first ones. Mm-hmm. And then she actually added that on witnesslessly in Bondo or something like that, and went into the plating process. Every year that went by, we kept trying to make their legs a little longer, because it's almost impossible to pose this thing.
Yeah.
But it was very iconic because it is. Grace gets a little bit more of the glory of being able to kind of develop something without having those restrictions.
So, as much as these are really cool, I don't think I'll get to do a lot of the plastic looks. I think we're
So Looking Up Unicorn, was that one of yours?
I did one of them. Dave O'Connell did another. We had various sculptors. Some of us it depends on what we were doing, because Hasbro had a very small sculpting department. So I would literally get something like this on my desk, and then I get a G.I. Joe. Or I get this on my desk and I get some other thing. I did a lot of doll development work, and I've been lucky enough, and I say this quite literally, lucky enough to have been assigned more to the girls in play school side of the business. I actually find that the girls in play school stuff is pretty innovative, and also it gets reinvented from scratch, from the very get-go. Every time. We have a lot of licenses. We have Marvel, but you get licensor information from the Spider-Man people, or you get it from whatever, and you kind of know what Spider-Man looks like. There's a lot of innovation in it, in articulations. Our guys are the best as far as that articulated thing, but the ability to really come up with something from the get-go, as most girls and play school products are, they're very unique. And Pony is an internally generated phenomenon that just kept going and going and going. If you guys talk to Bonnie, you'd say she didn't know where it was going. Her concept of it was different. But also the ability to be a team and have different viewpoints. Bonnie talked about real horses. And this was pretty much influenced by Bonnie's thought that it was a real, butterscotch, brown, and then all these rainbow colors came up later. So you guys enjoying Providence? Oh, you want to sign that?
Thank you. Another bubble.
If you know, the wax that we use now is a lot different than this. This is a jewelry wax. It's what I made my wedding ring out of. It's an injection molding wax. You can't make jewelry out of this wax because it's got talc in it. Talc is a stone, and when you do burnouts on molds to make jewelry, this is what's called a lost wax process. It causes, you don't get a ring, you get a thing with a bunch of talc in it. So the jewelry wax is what we used first, and then we went off, and like I said, Grace is coming up with a formula that's not even this color. It's constantly, we're always in a state of flux and modifying and doing different things because we'd be working in Bondo. Oh my God. Grace has corrupted me to start using quick sketch clay. I used to use more automotive-based plastilines.
My favorite, you can get it in almost any art store, right?
Almost any art store.
Michael's, just white clay and that kind of brick form. Perfect.
She actually does very amazing things because she's got the patience to play with it. To me, it's a little soft, but... Any other questions or anything? Anything you want to know about the Kirk? Oh, that's one of your... Snug.
How did they decide?
Yeah, now it's like kind of...
It's always been it's never, like, they never want to stop. Like, right now, I'm working on so many professional things that are so hard.
The little features.
It's just always I guess.
This is an original, isn't it?
No, that's
Is that the scan?
that was the one they fixed it.
Boy.
That's the second release.
Isn't that marvelous?
Yeah.
There's an original, guys, off the same mold. Look at the scan.
Yeah.
Computers are marvelous things. Everything is absolutely
Yeah, but for the second set of the rainbow ones, you look a little warped.
really.
Yeah.
Here's a little trick on vinyls.
We don't get much of a
Vinyl is a memory plastic with a bad memory.
Yeah.
Okay? And sometimes your ponies will be like, you know, but what happens is, just remember they were ripped out of a mold this way and they're done in mass production. You can actually boil them.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we
Put them in boiling water, let them normalize, because the plastic has a memory. And then just set them out and they'll be fine.
I'm not going to try it.
I thought you could do it too.
You can.
Yeah, you boil them.
I used to have pots of boiling pony skins.
What's for dinner?
With tongs, you can boil them in OxyClean. It cleans the rust out.
3-year-old, so you want to...
They've been fine.
There you go. Who's this?
There's a question back here about cleaning the vinyl. Do you have
Cleaning
a
it.
suggestion for the best product?
Here's the problem with cleaning vinyl. Vinyl is porous. Okay? If you try, let's say you get a Sharpie marker on it and you try to use some kind of a solvent on it, you're just going to drive the Sharpie marker right into it and bigger things. If you get something on surface, I actually had a little bit of something that was just on surface. I actually just took my X-Acto knife and just basically surface cleaned it right off. Essentially you want to get it off there. Anything like any stain in your clothing, put a solvent on it, it just spreads it. So you have to, ideally, you could absorb it, but it's a difficult thing. You can actually take a vinyl skin and throw it into acetone, and it'll grow like you wouldn't believe. It just sucks up like a big old sponge.
Really?
And we used to make things bigger. That's one of the ways, our little tricks of being able to back up. Let's say we got a pony that we got to the master stage or the super master stage, and they wanted to make a modification to it, and the clay's gone and the wax is gone. What the heck do you do? So at that point, we could actually take vinyl skins straight from the vendor, throw them in acetone, and they would come up 6, 7, 8%. They'd be a little floppy, and then we could take them and actually we could backfill them and make molds and go back that way. So we'd be able to take the original sculpting and go larger. There are techniques now. There's a rubber technique which we can use, which I actually can't tell you about, but we now can use different ways of doing that, and we often do it. It's what we call a transdimensional process. We're able to go back on original sculpture. Grace has learned, as a developing sculptor, you never throw out your clays.
Never throw out anything.
Don't throw anything out, because they might come back 3 weeks from now.
Or you can sell it on eBay in 30 years.
Or not.
Or get fired for selling it on
Or go in my office, I don't know. I'm kind of a pack rat, and Grace will tell you that I'm a pack rat. Am I a pack rat, Grace?
I can say it. You're a pack. Everyone can say it at the company.
Do you mind if I'm a dork and take a picture of this?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry. See?
It's pretty.
Fired.
It's pretty. It all needs to get out of my cubicle.
Ms. Garcia?
Yeah, I want to take tonight.
Are these all molds that you've designed?
Or deranged fan takes me out in the parking lot.
New Sculptors stuff for 2009. So
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to start representing the new.
What happens is they take this thing right here, they spray it with almost looks like a spray paint, but it's metallic,
So unfortunately,
and then
none
they
of my
hang
work
it
is here.
in
Okay.
paint full of tiny little molecules of nickel. This
Oh,
one happens to be
wow.
copper.
Okay.
And they attach an
Right now, I'm
electrode
a
to it, and
temporary
it
employee, but I've
swishes
been
back
temp
and
for so
forth
long, and
through
I've
this
just been
and
doing
builds up a
girls'
thickness
toys, little
of
bit
plate
long.
on it. right?
strawberry shortcake kind of stuff. So now
Basically,
I'm
yeah.
getting
Well,
into
actually,
pony.
yeah, it's a similar kind of thing. They spray it with a conductor, and they play like baby shoes. There you go.
Well, we look
And then what
forward
they
to
do
see
is-
what comes out.
Yeah.
The
lot of-
tube that's been added onto the
Very
top of that is what you're
different.
seeing right
No,
here.
I just
Okay.
noticed
Okay.
like this one is different from
Then they take that and flings vinyl, which they pour in there, put the cap back on, and it's like an oven, and it flings that vinyl against the sides of the metal mold.
Okay, so it just happens to be like this much amount.
Right, and it just flings, and they figure out how much that is, and that's how they end up hollow. Now you got a hollow thing. They go like this. There's a little metal cap that's missing right here. They take the little, and it looks just like a pony down. And just they grab a pair of pliers, and they go, yeah! And every single one of them made in the Orient is done that way. So there's a body and there's a head, and then they're put together to be this.
Not necessarily the same color we've discovered.
When we get shots, it's whatever the vendor happened to have. You'll actually see things. You'll see ponies and accessories and things that are actually shot up in, for example, the first shots of these brushes may have been in bright fluorescent pink, but the actual piece was, I think these were purple, weren't they?
They were different colors.
You probably kept, you know, every time you'd see them. Now the interesting thing, and this is one of the pains that goes with being a professional sculptor, these couldn't have any undercuts on them. Now undercuts are places where the molds hang up. So if the mold is coming down straight in this direction, this heart, I can touch it at the bottom all the way around because it has to come out of the mold that way. So anytime you ended up with a form that went around the corner, that heart can't be puffy or I can't get it out of the mold. So you get an original design sketch and there's hearts on the back, and you go back to the designer and go, what were you thinking? And you say, well, this is what I'm going to have to do. And that's what's called a draft angle on a mold. And it's very difficult in a hard material like this. But in the waxes and things, and this are things that, to become an industrial design sculptor, which is what Grace is doing now, these are things that she's been in training for 3 years to learn.
It's fun. It's fun when there's hang-ups. That's fun. Yeah. But,
Yes, do you need me to sign?
Yes, please.
Oh,
That side. Other one.
Other side? Oh, okay, you got it.
Wrong side.
Wrong side? Oh, the other side. Where, right here?
Yes.
Okay. You gonna get Grace to sign it too? The sea ponies I did work a little bit on, and actually I was laughing. I went over to Archive the other day. You know how the sea ponies have a little curl?
Yeah.
I found one with a posable tail. Whoa! That had a wire insert in it, because they were thinking of doing that too.
Is it still in Hasbro?
It's in the Archive.
Whoa.
Now, well, the Archive is over on Broad Street, and you'd have a tough time getting in there. Actually, a lot of the research and development product, they tried to throw the Archive out about 10 times.
Whoa.
And my continuity with the company is probably why a lot of it still exists.
We thank you for it.
Because not only that, but all the G.I. Joe figures that were done, we did those just like we did these in 2-up, in a lot of them in Bondo. Body putty, and I say 99% of those are over Archive. So I was lucky. They were lucky. Hasbro went through a lot of incarnations. Pawtucket was the focus for the research and development for a long time. Then Kenner Toy, when we bought Kenner, that facility was used, and a lot of things went out there. There was a pony style that came out that was developed through Kenner. They're long and more
The
linear.
Generation 2 ponies.
Okay. And actually, what was really funny is when Kenner kind of went down and they moved it all back, they literally, a lot of the Kenner designers left, and we got box loads of what they were doing to develop into product in like no time at all. And some of it was this way, and some was that way, and we gradually made a line out of it. And how long did we do them? I don't even remember how long.
A year in the
year or
US.
so?
In the U.S.
They were more like the adolescent ponies in their thing. Actually, there was one of those. Some of them had features. I'm trying to remember what they were. There was one that was posable, if I recall.
Yeah.
I did that one and worked on that.
magnets in their nose.
Yes, they had magnets in their nose. That's true. Gee, you guys know a lot more about that. But just realize that you guys think there's a certain glory in doing all this, but it's kind of like going to work. I mean, when she goes to work every day, she has a pile of stuff on her desk that she's got to take care of. Grace has tons of work, and it's work. So you don't really think about the fact that you're doing anything iconic or that kind of
well,
thing.
you have these moments in the day or you're in a meeting and you're having like a discussion about something, and then you're like, you sit back, you're like, this is my job.
It's
Like,
to be part of pop culture.
yeah, it's very neat.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if you guys are familiar, look at the Littlest Pet Shop line coming out.
Yeah.
And some of it's out. Grace did a few that are current. I think we can tell what those are because they're
out,
They're
yeah.
hot. You did the Bulldog. You did.
Well, it's more for like my mom and my aunt.
Yeah, and you go like, I make that.
Yeah, it's really cool, especially if you're like a little girl that's really into it, or just people that love to collect it.
Please,
So you get the job satisfaction from there.
Exactly. From the headaches at home, I mean, at
I was
work,
bummed when I had to do this.
something's not working.
Because everybody else got ones that are going like this. I gotta work this thing.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Now, guys, are you familiar? You familiar with Mr. Potato Head line?
Square, but make it round.
Iconic stuff. That's just a job that ended up on my desk that I had to get done in like a week.
You did Darth Tater in a week?
About.
When I was young.
That means.
But how long did it take to come up with that name? Because that's funny.
It wasn't mine. It was these brilliant folks. The marketing people did it.
You know, the back leg.
Down here?
Leg. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that a pose you worked on?
I do. I got
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
when I finish a pattern.
Now, guys, we have
Send it over to the model shop. And
There you go.
they make it really
we have other sculptors that are absolute geniuses in the boys line that bring this kind of a following when they go to things. But there's a guy named Dave Benemeyer that is just absolutely phenomenal and track his stuff.
But I don't know how much of my.
How does it feel to get all this attention from us right now?
It's fun.
Were you surprised I was in My Little Pony conceptual stuff? Because I am still
Nothing
kind of
surprises me.
19 and
If you guys want to see me, I'll be up.
Something flat too? Or?
Yes, I'll be up in New York.
There for
they're
symmetry.
into it.
Over here.
Yeah, over here, whatever. I don't really care.
But if they ask me to come here, apparently I'm doing a good job. So.
Yeah, you do.
When I couldn't sign my name at all until I became a homeowner, and now you have to for the paperwork you got to sign it like 10, 100,000 times.
Were you going to say you'll be in New York?
I'll
for
be
the
in New
Pony
York
Project?
State, and the French Army will be killing me next week. The 1750.